That was one of the worst cases I ever saw. I'll just recount it. A young woman was brought to our shelter up in Poi Pet near the border. And I learned of her as she was brought in. And after she stayed a while, she left, and she had no teeth. So then I said, I will find money to get her teeth, because the funding wasn't there for teeth. I mean, nobody could imagine. And it turned out what happened to her was, she was born in a very dysfunctional family. So she ran away like many young girls, goes to her friends. And after a while, the money runs out for both of them. I mean, and what happened is the friend took her to a brothel, really just about sold her to a brothel. And in there she was locked up, and as she tried to escape, what they did to the girls is they yanked their teeth out with a plier, starting at the back teeth, and beat them. And so hers, by the time she was rescued, she literally had absolutely no teeth. And how she got rescued was, one day a group of police and the village chief came to the brothel, and they were drinking in that part, and then the police went in to use the girls, but into her room came the village chief, and he didn't use her. He said to her, is there any trouble here in the brothel? And I felt like saying, trouble in the brothel? My God, it's a brothel. Enough trouble, that's it. But anyway, so she could say no, because she was afraid he might go out and tell the owner and she'd get beaten again, so you don't complain. So that's why you can't tell if a girl is trafficked or not, because if they ever tell their story, the guy goes out, boy, I paid for somebody and she's such a dullard and all, and then they go in and beat the life out of them. So anyway, he kept saying, she said, no. At the end, he said, listen, I'm going to give you this card. And it's the phone number of the anti-trafficking police in Phnom Penh. If you have trouble, you call them. She's taken it. She's thinking, call them. Phone. Excuse me, we're locked in the rooms. Phone. Anyway, she said, okay, thank you. Anyway, puts it away. 2 days later, a customer comes. Now, she remembers he likes to take long showers later. He left his pants, his trousers in the room. His phone was in the trouser. She had the phone, the brains. She had the phone, and she had the phone card. She called immediately. And the police said, but we have to have evidence, we have to know. She said, we have no teeth, we have bruises. He said, okay, we'll come. And the next day they evidently stopped in another province and picked up their anti-trafficking and arrived in Poi Pet. Now they went in civilian clothing. They like pretend they were customers rather than, kind of see what was happening. And sure enough, and in the meantime though, the two owners escaped. Kind of went out the back door and took off. And in a place like that, it's like, there's no tracking and all that stuff, so I mean, off they went. But at least they got the girls out and they got her to a shelter. So finally, I said, I will find the money. So I got ministry money from Maryknoll. People contribute sums and, and then they add up and then we can use them specifically for purposes like this. So, I went around to every dentist to find out what would be good for her, trying to find the perfect thing. And we get this soft dentures from Vietnam and stuff. It's okay. So then we take her to the dentist, but it took like 2 or 3 visits just to get the chips out of her teeth. She had no teeth, just the gums. But he had to find all those chips that were in there. And oh God, they were teeny little things. And out they'd come, and he puts more and more on the table. And she was heavily Novocaine. I mean, I said, please, because I was terrified. We brought the caregiver and I, just in case this brought back memories and she acted up or something. But she didn't. She wanted these teeth so badly. She sat in the only word you'd know was her toes just curled and curled, what she was experiencing, the fear. And then, so after those, she got all that out. Then she had antibiotics, and then that cleared, and then she came back for the dentures. And unfortunately, like he said, with the malnutrition in youth, in childhood, there wasn't enough bone, like for implants or anything, and the soft dentures, she didn't have a rounded enough palate, so she had to get the more traditional plastic, but he fitted them perfectly. We went back a number of times, but it was interesting. The last day, now they're a perfect fit, and she reaches for she used to wear a surgical mask, and I said, please don't put it on, come out. And she could. And we almost had to pull it off her. No, you're beautiful. Look at yourself. She couldn't get it. She kept putting it back on to hide, And you're beautiful. And then just put her head down and, it was just incredible. And so she walked out like that. Boy, that was tough. But to say, you're absolutely beautiful. Look at you. And then she could see it. But, And then to try to, you know, she wanted to be a beautician, so we, you know, through that training with her and stuff like that. But I mean, that was the worst case I ever saw.